Hi everyone, Adrena here. Today I wanted to talk about the cross hotbars and some of your HUD layout, because I know a lot of people who have been asking about the way I have my cross hotbars for easy, fast access to a ton of moves without having to constantly switch bars when playing with a controller. And also the HUD layout. This is a beautiful game. You want to see it, and not all of the stuff all over your screen. But you still need some of this information, so it's good to have it on your screen. You just kind of need it out of the way. So that's mostly what we're going to go over today. This will not be a video that completely covers every single little detail of all of the settings available in this game, but just a quick overview of how to achieve the simple layout that I particularly have. To assist me in showing the basics that you start with, I've created another character just for this purpose. Just to show you real quick, as default, you do have these little words over top of your hotbar, and in this base lineup, you have to switch every single time you want to get to a next hotbar. And with all the moves available, that's not always possible to do quickly in battle. So step 1, we're going to go into character configuration and scroll down to Hotbar Settings. In Hotbar Settings, your first is display. Overall, I've changed nothing in here, just as default as possible. Your next one over is shared hotbars. Now this is what can be changed as you change different classes. I personally put 3 back on and take 8 off. 8 is going to be one of my hotbars that I particularly use that needs to be adjustable for every single class. Next up, we have cross. This is where a majority of our changes are going to be, that and in customs next. But first, in cross, if you like the little words, don't change anything up here at the top. But if you want the little words over top of the hotbar gone, just click that off right there. Get that out of there. From here, we're going to scroll down, and all 3 of these bottom displays you're going to want clicked on, and your timer set at 45. This is the ideal time frame for how long you're allowed to double click up into that W crossbar. And already you're seeing it start to build. So those 3 and your timer. Next, we're going to go into custom. And here we're going to immediately click on enable expanded controls with L2 and R2. So this is where when you hit L2 and R2 consecutively, you get put into your next hotbar. I have it set at 8, and that is why in sharing I had 8 freed up. The next thing for your W crossbar is you're going to want these controls here. Enable directional buttons and direct which ones you want seen. I have mine set at 2 for the right side because my mounts are on the right side of my 8 bar, so I have quick access to them when not in combat. The rest of these controls down here, they're for different types of hotbar settings, including a PvP separate setup. I personally have not messed with any of that. I have not found I've needed it. Once you enter PvP areas, it changes your hotbar anyway, so I've never needed a secondary setup for that specifically. But all of these can be adjusted how you want them, but I find it best on 8 and 2. That's where I'm comfortable. So step 2 is once you've saved and canceled out, double check that everything's working, double click up to your secondary hotbar. use your L2 and R2 combinations to make sure that you've got your 8 bar right there. And then from there, it's assigning your skills and getting ready to rock in your next battle. So here's a slight example real quick of how I utilize it. I have on my top right my moves that I'm not going to use overly often in battle for that double click, but moves I use a little bit more often, but also not as a part of my main thing on my 8 bar, which is on the top left, but I can see all of my cooldowns at all times. And then I've got my main skills along the main crossbar, and you can just see how easy it is to switch from place to place without having to move your cross hotbars all the time. So next, we're going to cover a little bit about clearing up your HUD and what you technically don't really need when looking at it. So we'll just get right into that. I'm not going to go over all of the details, we're just going to be working in basic. All of these first hotbars are your keyboard and mouse settings that like to block your screen if you play with keyboard and mouse. I'm sorry guys, this is not for you guys. So straight down to the cross hotbar, and then now you have control over your left and right W cross hotbars. I have that shifted down and into the center just so I can see it, but it's out of my way. Progress bar is your casting bar. Again, down, out of my way. Focus target bar, I use this mostly because I'm a healer, and sometimes I have to click away from the boss and target somebody else for a while, and you still need to see cast bars. So I do have that pretty centered so I can see it at all times. The scenario guide, there is a setting in another setting screen that you can make that disappear when it's not active. Like right now, I don't have anything, so it's disappeared, but it will come back. Your party list is important. These alliance lists, that's kind of a lot of this you don't really need. Unless you're a tank, you might want the enemy list. I don't use the alliance list or the enemy list, all of that, just get that out of there. Make it go away. There's no point to it. Your health and HP bar, I have, again, you want it at a glance, but for the most part, get it out of there. My experience bar is down far left. I can see it, but it's not in my way. Now with statics effects, you can make it so you have 3 different groups and place them all over the place if you so like. I find it very convenient that you can group them all as one. I put them right there where I can see them at a glance, but again, they're out of my way. Off my screen. Minimap, I have it set as small as possible. I can see it at all times, it's always right there, but it's small, it does not need to take up half my screen. The notifications, that you can't change in any way, shape, or form, but just have it kinda out of the way. Main menu is a PC thing. Your duty list, I have it down in the corner because I want to be able to read it, but again, I want it out of my way. I want to see the game. Server info, I've also moved downwards and made rather small. I can see it. I don't need it in the middle of my screen. Gil, you don't need that. Get that out of there. Inventory grid, get that out of there. You don't need that. This is going to be your item help. If you can, when you have an item targeted, it'll give you the information and your action help. So when you have an action highlighted, when you're assigning it to your bar, you need to know what it does. That's going to be your grid for it. So you do want those active. Limit gauge, that originally starts way up in the far left-hand corner. I have moved it down again where I can see it at a glance, but it's not bothering anything, and it's definitely not buried under anything. I'm not sure why they started up there. It's a little ridiculous. But that's it. Lastly, your job gauges. They start in the middle of the screen, again, for whatever reason. But I've gone ahead and just moved that right out of the way of view, and everything's beautiful. I can see everything, and most importantly, I can enjoy the game. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and we look forward to helping and seeing you some more soon. Bye!